to us?
Well, it's a way to get attention, and it's good attention to get when you can leverage other people's sympathy and empathy for your plight. So that can become an addiction in a way, right? That can become addictive. We talk about this a little bit in Germanisch Heilkunde, how some people you shouldn't cure them of their particular disease because it's become a part of their identity. And it's for them to lose that, they lose their identity, which can really bring on some crazy existential problems. So if it's so in other words, if you've been a person who's been disabled in some way for 50 odd years or whatever, right? They've become accustomed to the people, their caretakers and their lifestyle and all the things that they can and can't do, and people that help them, such that to become fully independent and not needing any of this assistance, sympathy, empathy from others would be but too great a shock to them. So they're better off in the position that they're in. But some people do it. Some people literally cause problems for themselves. Maybe not consciously, but maybe consciously. But even just in the slight subconscious background, they'd look for ways to gain sympathy and empathy from other people due to their victim status. Make sense?
Yeah, and kind of as you were explaining that, I kind of noticed a deeper thing going on here. If the victim mentality implies this this feeling of being at the effect in life, right? Like other things are causes, other things out there are having a negative influence or cause upon me, the effect, right? And this sympathy, empathy seeking, that's kind of like a powerlessness thing where, well, if bad things cause my problems, if external things cause my problems, then I need to go out to other people and get them to do positive things to fix me.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the same mentality. It's like the other side of the coin. Right. The victim mentality is those things cause bad things for me. And then the other side of the coin is, and I also want reality to cause good things for me.
That's right. This is following along nicely with our What Causes Disease podcast, right? This material outer effects and material outer cures goes hand in hand with this victim mentality, where it's something outside of me created my problem, therefore something outside of me will solve my problem, like the sympathy of others.
So we have this blame-oriented activism. So feminism, for example, but essentially what we're looking at here is leftism. And if you've listened to the manifesto by, what was the Unabomber guy's name? Ted Kaczynski,
Ted Kaczynski, right? Yeah.
Ted Kaczynski, right? So what he identifies in that is that leftism is not a political position, but a psychological position. And it's kind of what we're talking about here. It's this victim mentality, and it's this anger at the entirety of reality and blame, and singling out specific groups or people or things in reality and directing that anger and blame towards them for the person's situation. That's what he says leftism is, and he says that like leftist governments are basically the the tyrannous gang that appeals to that and says, hey, vote us in so we can all direct our leftist energy towards the people we blame for our situation.
Right. And typically that's always wealthy corporations and individuals. Right. It's a transfer of assets is what they're always after. Mostly to themselves.
This is like the Bernie Sanders kind of thing, right? Like, let's start the 1%. We're going to get the money back from the 1%, It's like,
nice.
It's like rallying all the leftist victim mentality to blame certain people, and then
that's right.
Basically try to cause financial harm to those people,
right?
As some sort of revenge.
A lot of people duped too, remarkably.
Right. And it's kind of are they duped or are they? Yeah, we know what's going on here. We're angry at you.
Right. I think we did the bonding one already. I did that.
Hmm. Okay. So what we want to talk about now is like why, like we want to explain this victim mentality. We want to talk about why this mentality exists, how it comes to be, why it stays in place for people. So we've divided the cause up into external causation and internal causation. So external causation, it's kind of interesting because it's almost like a a spiral of reinforcement of victim mentality. Do you want to go through some of these, Brad?
Yeah, and you can sum all these up pretty easily, I think, by just saying that anybody who is seeking power, right? They can only generate, each one of us can only generate so much power for ourselves, right? There's a limit to how much power I can, as far as like controlling my life and what's in my realm. But the people who aren't satisfied with that have to move on to higher levels. And in order for them to get more powerful, they have to take other people's, and they don't really take it, but we've talked about this many times. They convince everybody else to give them their power. And so that
Mm-hmm.
summarizes this entire category here, right? We're bombarded by disempowering victim mentality messages, establishment institutions, right? They're training us to be disempowered, conversations with friends, interactions in movies and television shows. I mean, it's very deliberate, right? There's always some victim in all of these. Advertising, but they want us to come to believe that this is normal, this behavior that we see and learn from these big institutions. But it's normal in the sense that we've all been indoctrinated into it, but it's definitely not natural. So we are behaving unnaturally based on all this indoctrination. And that's what leads to most of the woes that people have in life.